So I decided that this content might be best suited to a video format, so that's why I'm posting this here and not on my blog. Either way, I want to share some insight into how I go about solo developing video games. I think that this information could be somewhat helpful for a few different areas outside of just video game development, for example story writing, so don't leave just yet if you're not a video game developer. The first point I want to mention is to just take some time to get inspired. That might include looking at some paintings, listening to some music, or reading a piece of creative writing. The main point is that whatever piece of media you are consuming, it's evoking some kind of emotion or triggering some kind of thought. At this point, if you're experiencing an emotion, you gotta write it down. If you're thinking of any thought, entity, or even a nebulous aesthetic, write it down. I also highly recommend blocking out your proverbial inner critic for this point. Think of it this way. No one is going to see your rough design notes besides yourself, and you never know what wonderful ideas might emerge from even your most awkward, nonsensical, or otherwise detestable ramblings. In any case, when you think you've totally drained your creative capacity, or you're satisfied with what you've done, this is when you can start refining your notes. You gotta take a step back and organize what you've written. Now this might seem obvious, but it's still worth saying. Organize the larger structural ideas first. This would include the aforementioned nebulous aesthetics, the grand narratives, or even an overarching antagonist to your story. From there, you can work into smaller details, such as how you're going to evoke emotions from the player, what kind of adversities the player might face, and then right down to even the specific enemies you dreamt up earlier, and how they can fit into what you have constructed. It should hopefully go without saying that even at this point, don't be afraid to think of new ideas. However, do be afraid of setting your scope to be wider than your capabilities. There are very few things more disheartening than realizing that you have no idea how you're going to construct an open-world MMORPG with a rich story, 3 DLCs and an ARG when you only barely know how to use Game Guru. And that's it for this video. I might make another one depending on how well this is received, but in the meantime we'll see how it goes. Be sure to look at my blog linked in the description, where I'll post semi-regular updates on my current project.